Number 6. ESTABLIE. ESTABLIE was an experienced explorer and professional diver who had been tasked with mapping the Ardèche Gorge's underground tunnel complex. He had worked as a volunteer rescuer for the SSF for years and knew the safety measures needed to survive his expedition. It's not clear what happened during his inspection, but he stopped all communications 24 hours after entering the cave. John Valanthan and Rick Stanton, 2 rescue divers, searched for ESTABLIE for 8 days. Since there was enough water to allow the explorer to survive for approximately 15 days, rescuers remained hopeful they would be able to find ESTABLIE alive. Eventually, his body was found just 2,500 feet away from the cave's entrance. ESTABLIE had drowned after an unknown accident. Caving, spelunking, or potholing is a recreational activity involving the exploration of caves. The scientific approach to this practice is known as speleology. Depending on the characteristics of the cave being explored, this activity can be categorized as an extreme sport, and great risks are assumed by those who engage in it. The term is derived from the Latin caverna, which is simply translated as cave. One of the first caving clubs in the world, Yorkshire Ramblers Club, was created in 1892. Must-have equipment that cavers should take on any expedition includes a hard hat, LED lights, batteries, thick and resistant clothing, caving boots and gloves, food sources, and of course a first aid kit. Other essentials such as wetsuits might be required depending on the type of cave. Number 5. Simon Halliday. While searching for a missing caver, a team of over 40 rescuers discovered the drowned corpse of 49-year-old Simon Halliday. He'd been exploring the Lancaster cave when he got caught in the underground network. His disappearance wasn't reported, and so no attempts to save him were made. Pure chance led the rescue team to finding his corpse at Lancaster Hole in Cumbria. The body was found trapped in a submerged passage 196 feet underwater. That would be the equivalent of falling from the top of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. The missing explorer was pronounced dead on the spot. No foul play was suspected, and the body was returned to his grieving relatives. This activity can be practiced in any country in the world with varied types of ecosystems and climate, depending on the region. The deepest caves in the world are the Veryovkina Cave and the Kruperira-Voronja Cave, both located in Georgia. Horizontally, they measure 1.37 and 1.36 miles respectively. To put things into perspective, that's as long as the total race span of the Kentucky Derby. Meanwhile, the longest cave system worldwide is the Mammoth Cave, located in Kentucky. It measures 405 miles thanks to the many connecting limestone tunnels that create a massive network. There are several locations that are partially flooded, depending on the time of the year. When these areas are explored and the participant spends time underwater, it's considered cave diving. This adds the risk of the underground water level rising due to different factors, such as heavy rain. In some countries, the onset of the monsoon season means that many caves can't be explored for several months at a time. Number 4. LUKAS CAVAR. Indiana student LUKAS CAVAR participated in an expedition with his college spelunking club, and at first everything went according to plan. However, after getting separated from the group, he found himself all alone in an unknown environment. The group left soon after without noticing he was missing and locked the entrance gate. When the student realized he was stuck inside, he attempted to cry for help, but the area was deserted. He couldn't pull up the iron bars of the gate as they were welded to a concrete base surrounding the hole. For 3 days, CAVAR managed to survive by licking water off the walls. He typed in notes for his friends and family to read in case he wasn't rescued in time. CAVAR had no signal and couldn't call for help. When he missed a physics class the following Monday, his friends noticed something was wrong. CAVAR didn't show up to work either, and so they decided to contact the caving club. That was when rescuers rushed to the site and opened the gate. CAVAR was weak but healthy and quickly devoured the meal club members had brought for him, a Big Mac and a bowl of pasta. He made a full recovery but told the media he wouldn't participate in any further expeditions. The risks of caving depend on the characteristics of the cave and the experience of the people exploring the area. Absence of light, water hazards, and tight spots make caves naturally risky spots to visit. Dangerous animals might dwell under the surface, and a wrong move might lead to severe injuries and death. The most common risks are slipping, rocks falling from the ceiling, wild animals getting lost in the dark, or getting caught in a tight spot. Hypothermia, broken limbs, physical exhaustion, and drowning are typical outcomes. Contracting fungal infections that lead to pneumonia or drinking infected water that can significantly affect the caver's health are also possibilities. If stuck, it might become impossible to either get help or get rescued, even when professional emergency teams are called to the site. Dismemberment and death are the worst case scenarios when exploring caves, whether for scientific or recreational interest. Number 3. Tam Luang Nang Non Cave Rescue. Back in 2018, a Thai junior soccer team got trapped in the Tam Luang Nang Non Cave during an expedition with their 25-year-old coach. A sudden storm had caught them by surprise and kept them from resurfacing. For over a week, no contact was achieved between the outside world and the children. Eventually, divers John Valanthan and Richard Stanton found them all alive 2.5 miles from the cave's entrance. Many plans were outlined, but with the monsoon storm approaching, time was of the essence. More than 10,000 people from all over the world joined the rescue efforts. Saman Kunan, a former Thai Navy SEAL, was one of the volunteers in charge of delivering air supplies to the group. Kunan unfortunately got asphyxiated on his way back to the surface. The media was initially led to believe that diving lessons were given to the soccer team and that they'd remain conscious throughout the entire process. Though it was considered as an alternative, rescuers were worried the children would panic during the journey. They were instead administered surgical anesthesia. Since the drug doses lasted only 45 minutes, they were resedated during their 3-hour journeys. This was kept a secret to avoid concerning the victims' families and the international media. The process was so slow and arduous as it took almost 3 days to extract the children and their coach. The team spent weeks in the hospital, slowly being rehabilitated to return to their normal lives. They all managed to make a full recovery. Today's topic was requested by Instagram follower at Max's Truck Videos YT. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below, or follow us on Instagram and reach out to us there. If inexperienced in caving, it's key to wear all the necessary protective gear and follow instructions. Knowing the area that will be explored is important, as it might be hard to find your way out if you become lost. Always make sure you let someone know where you're going and when you're supposed to be back. This will allow rescue groups to be informed of your disappearance earlier rather than later should an accident happen. Depending on the climate, different types of clothes should be worn. Wearing the wrong kind of equipment might lead to hypothermia, overheating, falling, and contracting different infections. Checking the weather and probability of floods can be the difference between life and death, as rainwater can pool underground with surprising speed. This has caused many explorers to be caught unprepared and unable to resurface due to cut-off passages. Unless fully experienced, always hire a guide or professional caver. Going in groups is better than attempting this activity alone, as it might prove difficult to search for help if wounded. When caving with others, yell "rock" for falling objects, even if it's not an actual rock. It saves time and allows others to react rapidly. Number 2. Harry Hesketh. Harry Hesketh was 74 years old when he decided to take part in a 3-man expedition of Curtain Pot. Despite his advanced age, he had a passion for this activity and was described by his family as a caver till the end. While exploring the cave, Hesketh lost control of his rope. The cave was dark and his companions didn't understand what had happened until they heard a thud and Hesketh's groans of pain. He'd fallen 20 feet down a narrow passage. The drop left him badly injured and he'd suffered a broken femur. This rendered the caver unable to climb back up. One of the members in the expedition stayed with him while the third rushed to get help. More than 100 people participated in the rescue attempt, and the operation lasted over 17 hours. A volunteer described it as the most difficult extraction he'd ever participated in. The cave's passages, however, were too narrow and kept the rescuers from rescuing simultaneously. They attempted several different plans to save Hesketh, but none seemed to work within the limited space available. The 74-year-old adventurer's condition gradually deteriorated, and he soon became unresponsive. By the time he was resurfaced, it was already too late. HESKETH perished from his injuries and was declared dead on the scene. Join the They Will Kill You team by rocking the latest merch from theywillkillyou.com. Order yours today to be one of the first to spread the word. Number 1. John Edward Jones. John Edward Jones was an experienced caver who decided to explore the Nutty Putty Cave located west of Utah Lake. Though he encountered incredibly narrow passages, Jones kept moving forward. Much to his horror, he found himself stuck face down in a crevice he could not squirm out of. Moving back was not an option, so he attempted to push ahead, breathing in to give him space to wiggle himself free. Unfortunately, when he breathed out, Jones became fully stuck and unable to move. A rescue team arrived soon after, and at first it seemed like they'd be able to free Jones. But when the pulley system failed, the trapped man's situation became even more complicated. Jones was given food and water, as well as anti-anxiety medication to keep him calm. His condition kept deteriorating with little room to breathe and blood rushing to his head. Rescuers remained with him for 27 hours, but all attempts to save Jones's life were fruitless. He died of cardiac arrest on November the 24th, 2009. It was deemed that retrieving his body was too dangerous, and so the cave was permanently sealed, with John Edward Jones's body buried inside. Thanks for watching. Would you rather get stuck in a cave with no means to call for help, or locked in a coffin full of scorpions? Let us know in the comments section below.